Welcome to a short tutorial on how to use the learning management system called Edgenuity. And this is the login website that we go to. It's easier to type. It's up here at the top, learn.education2020.com. You get to this page, click on Educators, and you put in your username and password here. And it'll open your home page. Here will be a list of announcements, some of these coming from Edgenuity themselves. Some of these announcements up here will be school-related announcements. Please encourage your students to read these announcements. They will be accessing their courses through Edgenuity, but they'll actually log in to the SIS, and there's links to this to their course lobby page within the SIS, and that's where they'll read their announcements. But for your purposes, you'll go directly into the LMS to look at students' grades and to monitor their progress, as well as to open quizzes and tests and manage a student's grade book. And so those are a few of the things we're going to go over here. The first thing I always do is just click on this link right here on the very left side that says Dashboard. And it opens a page like this. Notice I have it set as for electives. And so how do you filter the dashboard? How do you get these things? Well, first you want to sort it for the school, and you find the school under the Group button. Impact Academy High School, apply. Then you want to sort it for your course. So if you have an elective course, you can sort it that way. But what happens is it will sort all the elective courses. So you'll want to choose your particular course from the drop-down menu here below. And as you can see, there's a lot of older courses that are still hanging out here, but you definitely want to choose the one that you are the teacher of. Okay? So I'll just leave it at that for right now so we see these students. Let me change it to Social Studies, and I'll show you what happens to the screen. It will now sort for all of the Social Studies students enrolled in a Social Studies course with Impact Academy High School. Okay, but I really wanted to bring up one of my courses, if I can find it. I don't think it's going to be any one of these. It's not showing on the drop-down list yet. So let's go back to electives, and it will show all of the psychology students. Okay, so you can change the sorting of the dashboard to match your needs. And you can see there's an alert here at the top. All the student alerts will automatically appear and push to the top. And in this particular student, I know exactly what happened. They viewed my introductory video, and it was a writing assignment where they had to reply to tell me something about themselves. And so I'm going to check this assignment by clicking on the alert button itself. I want to review the student work that needs grading, and it opens up the student's activity page here. And it says that what is psychology? Teacher introduction, pending. So it's pending a grade. And so I've got to go in and grade it. So I open that. Let me go back. I just click on it anywhere inside this row for the activity, and it will open the student's grade book where that assignment is located. And down at the bottom, you'll see that they have one attempt. If I click on the view over here at the bottom right, little view link, it will show me this is the information I put in the writing prompt. And then at the bottom I put, tell me about yourself, what school are you from, and this student response is here. And I will be grading this later, but this is what it looks like to grade an actual activity submitted by a student. Now there are other things that a student can do. You can just close this window because it opens as a separate window and it takes you back to the page where you left off at the student's grade book. There are other things that can be graded, like the quiz. Sometimes the quiz needs to be reviewed, and when you review for the quiz, that means that you're going to check that student's work in that lesson before you open the quiz. If a student doesn't pass the quiz, depending on your course settings, you might get an alert if they don't pass it, and when you open up the quiz, you will have the option to give them an additional retake, or you can pass with current grade. So you can reset assignment or pass with grade. And so let's say they made a 60 on a quiz, they've already taken it 3 times, then you can go ahead and pass them with that grade so they can move on in the course. But you certainly want to address with that student what it was that they were not understanding about that lesson, and that's where a phone call might be handy, or even a webinar. So we got to this grade book, remember, by looking at the activity list after we clicked on the alert that said there was a pending assignment that needed to be graded. Okay. There's another way to get to that grade book, but I want to go back to the dashboard here just for a second. Let's head our way back to the dashboard. Okay, so it lists all the students, and you can see what the different columns mean, and you can change the display. I always like the display to read the actual grade. That's the grade they have, which includes all the work they've done plus anything they're behind on, which counts as zeros. Their overall grade is going to tell you the grade that they've made for the work that they've done. But if they're behind, they'll have an actual grade, something that's lower than the overall grade. And this is the grade that gets reported at the end of each term in Infinite Campus, the actual grade. And you can untick or tick the boxes for the things you want included in the columns here. And just click apply and it will apply it. There's also another way that you can look at, instead of just the progress list here, you can look at it by units and lessons in the course. Okay, so we know that Ms. Guerrero completed that first part of that lesson, and if you hover over it, it will tell you what that unit is. And I clicked on it and it opened the gradebook, and it took me right to the activity that student is on in the lesson that they're working on. Okay, so that's a different view on the dashboard that you might find useful. Personally, I just like to use the progress list here, so I can have their grades at a glance, and I can see their progress. Now, over here in this progress column, if they fall behind, their little progress box right here turns red, and so you'll be able to see immediately if a student's behind in their course. And you can sort these columns just by clicking on the top. So if I want to sort by progress, I can click here, and it will sort it either descending or ascending, depending on how many times you click it. Right now, there's hardly any students working except poor Miss Linda on a Friday night with nothing else to do. She's working on her psychology course already before school even starts, so she's going to be a few lessons ahead by the first day of school. Okay, so we talked about multiple ways to get to a student's grades. So I'm going to come over here. Notice after I had clicked on Miss Guerrero's activity alert, now her name appears up here in the top bar in its own little orange tab. And I can do several things here. I can email the student through the LMS. Students don't always check this email, So it's best not to do that unless it's just something quick and easy you need to say to the student. I prefer that everyone email through the student information system. You can view a student's courses, you can view their progress report, their session log, or you can just switch to a different student. These three things here are highly valuable and powerful. Viewing courses, progress report, session log. Let's do view courses first. Here's a list of the students' courses, and if I want to see where they are in my course right now, I can just click on it, click on that link, and voila, we're back to the gradebook. You notice there's a bunch of links up here at the top. Not everyone has all of these links, but you can do different things with it. Edit options for your course is here after you radio tick the button next to your course. And you can change the grading weights, change whether you require a quiz activity review, test activity review, allow user to move freely in the course, or you can set up pre-testing and prescriptive testing. Or you can change the name if you want. So these are the course options here. Okay. Scores and activities review. That was a page we looked at a few minutes ago. There it is again. But once a student starts getting through the course and there's lots of activities they've completed, maybe you want to sort for their lowest scores up top so you can see where their lowest grades are. And you can open that activity with their lowest grade and find out what they missed on the quiz by viewing it. Okay, but right now I don't have enough activity in this student's course to show you that feature. But that's how you get to it. Scores and activity review is a very often clicked on link there. Under the student tab here, there's progress report, and this is a very important piece of information that you can use in conversation with parents as well as the student themselves. And you can see that it will show you their percent complete, their overall grade for the work they've completed. Their actual grade here is going to be their grade with zeros attached if they're behind the pace. And this bar up top will turn red, green, or blue depending on where they are. Red is behind, green is on pace, and blue is ahead. Down here at the bottom, this shows you the categories of grades, quizzes, tests, exams, and assignments, and what their weights are at the bottom. And it shows what the score for each weight is based on the activities they have completed. Well, I haven't graded her assignment yet that she submitted, but once that gets in there, then she will have a grade populated in her course. This is very interesting right here. This column is very important, the quiz column, because there's a quiz after every lesson, at the end of every lesson, and this course has 41 quizzes, which means it has 41 lessons, and will tell you how many quizzes they've taken or lessons completed. And you can easily communicate to the student how many lessons they have left in a course. And if you know how many days are left in school, that will tell them how much they need to be working in the course. But usually students will follow their completion bar. They need to be completing about 1 to 2% of their course every day during school days. Finally, we have session log, and that is where you can see how much time they're spending working in your course. And notice there's something called idle time, and Edgenuity defines that as time not spent progressing in the course. You can see that she's worked already over an hour in the psychology course and completed 2 activities. Okay, they should be working about an hour per day per course, 5 days a week during school days, or an average of about 5 hours a week if they're working on weekends too. All right, so this concludes the short and sweet tutorial. You now know enough to be dangerous. I encourage you to go in and click on all the links that they have offered here and see what different things do. and you'll be a pro in no time.